had some fun.
It's time for the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Here with a load of laughs, info, and fun, it's Tony B, Dave B, and Timmy D.
Before I go alone. Don't ask me this and one more song. It ain't too costly, no, I ain't too cheap, so just relax. I'm on my knees.
Happy New Year, Mr. David B.
Happy New Year, producer Tony.
Welcome to 2024. This is the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode number 124. Alongside me, as usual, is David B. Timmy D is out this morning. We're going to recap a little bit of what's went on in 2023. And David's got some customer service stuff. And we also have 1983.
What a year.
Oh, my goodness. What were you? What grade were you in 1983?
So I was 12 years old, or so 13. I'm not sure what year. What, 8th grade? Probably?
Yeah.
8th grader, I guess.
Yeah.
Puberty at its height.
Little young David was getting fired up.
Where's his hair coming from?
Oh, my God. His hair looks great.
Well, that's not what I meant, but yeah.
Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen
It's all different
podcast.
parts of my body.
There you go. 124. Happy New Year to everyone.
1, 2, 4.
The views of Ship's Gonna Happen are purely news-driven and do not express the views of anybody that uses a transportation provider. David B., why do we do it?
Transportainment.
Ka-ka-ka-boom! Welcome to the show, David B.
It's the 19th green, even though it's not green outside this morning. If you're driving today,
It's a little white,
If
isn't
you're
it?
driving today, so it's about. I leave the house about no later than 8:15 to get here at 9 on a Saturday morning, and it's a gray Saturday in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
If you, this should become some sort of law. If you're driving in these conditions and your headlights are not on and you get pulled over, it should immediately be a $500 fine.
Yeah.
Minimum $500 fine. If you're driving in these conditions without headlights, you need to be. What I want to say is you should be pulled over and beaten within an inch of your life because you are a threat to people driving. But there should be a minimum of a $500 fine if you're driving in these conditions and do not have headlights on.
I think
nothing annoys me more than that.
I think there's one state that it's law.
Really?
Yeah, and I believe
Okay.
if it's wet
Should
out,
be Indiana.
raining, Illinois, our bordering neighbor.
Okay.
To the west of us.
Mhm.
I believe it's if it rains,
Geographic lesson
If
brought to you
turn
by
on.
producer Tony.
but they do a lot of different things over in that state.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit different.
A little bit different. So it is a nice. We've had it off easy so far as the winter is concerned. It's a beautiful winter morning in Indianapolis. The show, along with all our other shows, brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after Ship's Gonna Happen week. Great place to go to unwind. Go to get a great meal. Hear the music of one Mr. David Meek, we ran into last evening. Chatted up with the locals. Kind of a good place to kind of end your Ship's Gonna Happen week. That's the Great Divide, downtown Indianapolis. If you're ever in there, tell them that Ship's Gonna Happen podcast sent you in there. Great place to go. We're trying to do another
Live remote.
there. I think we're shooting for the first Saturday of March, but we don't have anything nailed down, but we'll see about taking care of that. Producer Tony pouring the coffee on this early Saturday morning. Not a coffee guy, producer Tony. How did you?
You got your mellow yellow.
I do, yeah. I'm not a Pepsi product guy,
No.
but whatever.
How
did you get a taste for coffee?
Funny you should ask that.
Yeah, 'cause
Never
was
drink
it
in
the
my
military.
never
No?
drink in the military. Guys would be drinking coffee and they'd be like, "I'll take the hot chocolate." They had a hot chocolate thing,
Mhm.
and I would always get hot chocolate. And it's weird. Military always had hot chocolate. They'd run out of coffee, but had hot chocolate. And when they ran out of coffee, there'd be some angry older men.
Oh, dude, if there's, I see people get mentally disturbed if there's not coffee.
But I blame me habit on me lady.
Really?
Me lady likes coffee.
Okay.
And so I was
All right,
one
so
day
does
like,
mine, but I
you
still
just
don't.
want to do it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I really, it dries you out and stuff. It's like now I drink half a pot almost every morning.
There's a place that you and I go to every now and again that serves. They're liquids that they serve are beer and coffee.
Ooh.
And I can't do coffee, but I want to go there when I leave here today, but I don't want to do a beer this early in the morning.
Right.
So I'm like,
Didn't Timmy D have those one time?
yeah.
The coffee beer, like that was weird.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? He brought them in. They were like
Yeah,
looked like Starbucks cans.
You're right. Yeah.
And they were, I can't remember who made them.
I forgot about that.
But they were like coffee beer. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So I want to go there when we leave. I want to go there when we leave here. When I leave here today, but I can't do coffee, and it's too early for beer. And so, but anyway,
I know.
I guess I just won't go. But I cannot. I've tried to acquire. I love the smell. I just cannot acquire a taste.
Well, how do you feel though, personally? Because when I typically look out my window, I like to see sweltering heat, the vapors rising off the concrete. And I think today it's hit like your favorite day.
In more ways than one, you disturb me in more ways than one. And that's the thing about me. That's the thing about you that completely baffles me. And I just don't get why anybody likes the heat. But and I've always been this way. This isn't something that's new. I love days like this. I'm in shorts today. I love days.
I thought for sure you'd be in the Jeep today.
Well, yeah.
I thought, man, he's going to be coming in here sideways in the Jeep.
Yeah, it would be a good Jeep day, but I don't have top and doors on my Jeep, so
yeah.
I love these days. This is classic the way, even though it is, like we mentioned earlier, a gray Saturday. I like gray days versus sunny days, but that's just me. And my wife thinks I'm mental. And there might be some truth to that.
Man, that sounds like the title of a song: "Gray Days Over Sunny Days." Maybe even a movie.
You meant that my wife thinks I'm mental.
Well, that part too.
But yeah, I like this weather. You got your neighbors are out shoveling what little bit of snow that there is. I don't think that's needed, but
leaf blower might get it today.
Yeah. So yeah, excellent Saturday, producer Tony. It's so good to see you. Our first recording of the new year. It's just like
fourth season, 124.
Like producer Tony mentioned, it's season 4. So hopefully this is our best season, and we appreciate everybody being here today.
The best is yet to come. Thank you, David B. So hey, my reminder, you can catch us on all the platforms too. So I was going to step into it here because we got a big show today. Number 1, let's recap 2023, David.
That's a great idea.
So when I was doing a little research,
is there a number 1 story? I mean, in my head, there is. Yeah.
Probably, and a couple big ones follow it. But something jumped out to me that was like, I did not know that. I would have never guessed that. And you and I are pretty attuned to what's going on in this industry. Mm-hmm. If I were to ask you, Mr. Boyles, how many companies has TFI International purchased?
Oh boy. I'm spitballing. First number to my head is 6.
Okay, let me recap. It's not a trick question. Let me rephrase that. That's probably what they purchased in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Since last 20 years, how many companies do you think they've purchased?
Oh, all right. So now I'm going to dumb it down and say 10. I don't know.
180.
What?
180 companies this company has purchased.
T-Force.
Yes. TFI, right?
Oh, Transforce International.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
T-Force International.
Same company. Whatever. That's who owns them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's who owns
the same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
180 companies.
In the last, how many? I'm
20 some years.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
how well has that worked out? Am I missing something?
No.
Am I missing something?
It just astonishes me because they're a Canadian-based company, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And they do really well.
Best of luck to them. They're not on my radar. They're not on my radar.
I'm just shocked that they've purchased that many companies. They did $7.2 billion revenue in 2021. Their stock price is about $1.31, which is healthy, right? They have 571 facilities, 160 in Eastern Canada. 318 in the United States, 12 in Mexico. So I was just, when I was looking back at that, I was like, because TFI purchased UPS Freight, right? And so I was looking back at that and it said it's their 180th company they purchased. And I was like, what?
I do know they have like a brokerage division, Transforce or TTWI or whatever.
Right.
It's garbage.
Is it?
I shouldn't say that, I guess. I don't want to bad talk him.
Welcome to 2024.
I get it kicked off. I'm going to get reprimanded.
Well,
for
they have 21 divisions, as you're saying. One of them that you know of,
right,
or that we know mentioned.
I'll applaud them for their effort, but it's just not. The pricing is. I guess what I mean is the pricing is bad. It's not anyway. Never mind. I feel like I shouldn't be even talking about that. I'm not. I guess I don't do business with them. So.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then in 2023, according to CNBC, which is considered a legitimate source, within the first 4 months of 2023, an astonishing 31,278 trucking companies either shut their businesses or shifted their services to larger fleets due to falling spot freight rates and rising fuel costs.
So,
David B., 31,000. Wow.
I think that's, so when I hear that number, and I'm spitballing and don't have any knowledge behind the actual numbers, how many of those people got into it during the height of the dumb numbers?
That's probably what a lot of it is, yeah.
And then when reality set in, they're like, oh, I can't do this.
Right.
Well, you can. Had you planned for it the way you should have planned for it, because again, the ebb and flow of freight, you can't get into it in the COVID years and expect it to stay where it was,
right?
As far as rates are concerned, yeah, good. Then I'm not trying to be whatever, but it's. If you weren't smart enough to realize that, then you didn't deserve to be in the industry anyway.
Yeah. So some big things shaped 2023. Yellow bankruptcy has shaked up the industry a bit.
Has it though? And now that
I think it right-sized it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Because now that it's landed, when I say landed, I think we're kind of over that shock of it happening.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
And I'm not again. It's an unfortunate 30,000 people lost their jobs, and I was a yellow through and through. I was a roadway guy, yellow, whatever, and I was sad to see it happen. But 6 months later now, we've moved on. I don't mean to but it is. It's just the way it is. The industry righted itself or made itself right, and I think you spoke. Maybe the last time we got together, or one of the last two times that we got together, that if it happened again, it might be if there was another carrier that kind of tried to maybe get out of it or not be involved anymore, it's still the industry could probably still handle that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate again, but 100-year-old company that just couldn't manage itself or whatever. So
yeah, no, that works.
Unfortunate, and
sad.
Yeah, they spent money, dude.
I know.
They spent money.
So here's FreightWaves. FreightWaves recapped the most read FreightWaves stories of 2023.
Okay.
Number 10, family-owned company, California trucking company seizes operations. That was that for Certified Freight Logistics.
Oh, that's right.
95 years. Number 9, Texas-based, and again, this is from FreightWaves. Texas-based trucking company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Peace Protection.
Is that Central or who?
No, I think that might have been the year before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Teamsters demand yellows previous $11 per hour. 7 Illinois trucking companies suddenly shuts down, leaves drivers stranded. That was Gromex Incorporated in Villa Park, Illinois. I don't even remember that.
Nope.
Yellow exec tells staff to prepare for bankruptcy. North Carolina truck company shut down after top customers pull out. They don't even mention the name of the.
Who in the end is profiting from all this yellow stuff?
I think the big winners were like Saya and
I guess what I mean. Let me rephrase my question. Who in yellow is profiting from all this? Or I guess is somebody like with all these sales? Is the government getting their end of it? And when I
think
say
the creditors get paid first.
Okay.
And then I think hopefully there's enough to pay everything off there. I didn't look that up, but I think that I remember reading that the creditors and the government's going to get is the number one in line.
Okay.
So, and they owned what, 40% of it. So they're going to get what they're going to get it.
Okay.
So, but my understanding is,
But will that be news?
no, probably not. No, government gets paid back, whatever. It looks like they're going to end up making money off the thing. And hopefully that goes back to, I mean, they've got union lawsuits to deal with. They've got employee versus union lawsuits to deal with.
You probably still need to pay some employees.
I would think so, yeah. And there was a lot, I think that's what one of the, forgive me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. This is an entertainment show and I'm not doing it for entertainment, but my understanding is that there are some union labor lawsuits on pay.
Okay.
So that they would have to go back and pay those people. I mean, I think Tim had said he hadn't gotten all his pay, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
sorry, Dad. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. It's a topic of something that happened. And then there's a picture here, but they don't talk about it. Convoy cancels all shipments. The trucking company.
We talked about that.
Yeah, we brought that up. So it was an interesting year. I think the industry as a whole is probably right-sized a little more.
Right.
It's going to be a different type of year, I think.
Rates are back to, for the most part,
where shipper needs to see them, where the shipper likes them.
Yeah, for the most part. It's back to, I mean, I don't know if normal is the right word to use, but things are better than like pre-COVID numbers. So that's encouraging to see.
So it'll be an interesting year. There's if you break and look down at all the carriers, they seem to be in financial stability shape, healthy. There doesn't seem to be one that we could point a finger at that's in the top tier that we could say, hey, whoa, they might be next.
Right.
I don't think there's really it's stable, which is what the industry and the customer needs. So it'll probably be a profit type thing. I don't think there'll be a lot of growth this year because it's tough with the political year. I mean, that whole political scene's going to be kind of a circus, David. So,
isn't it always?
Yeah. Is that
a clown show thing you got going on there?
Yeah, I think it's just like, well, it just seems like in the election years, companies don't order and stock as much, and they're worried about the next president. Are they going to tax the hell out of their business? Inventory tax. There's just so much stuff, right, that they worry about during these years, like gas prices. Hopefully these people that lead this nation can take care of the American worker, like me and you, Dave.
Yeah. Have we ever been? I mean, in my years,
not really.
My years,
yeah.
In all of my years, we have to do this dumb self-evaluation thing at the end of every year before raise time comes. How about you evaluate me and then let's talk? I hate evaluate myself because here's what I'm going to do. I'm complaining that the insurance costs are too high. You don't cover enough, and it's not going to get any better. So anyway,
David, how about you just beat the crap out of yourself and tell us about all your fallacies so we don't have to dig into them, and then we can just rate you on that.
Yeah. Tell us about how you don't even want to spend 1 minute here, literally every day, and whatever.
David, why is it when your time shifts up, you tend to leave?
Right.
Right away.
And not tell anybody. You just literally get up from your desk and walk out the door.
We don't wave at anybody.
You
Dave.
seem a little disgruntled. Well, why would that be?
Are you getting enough sleep, David? Are you tired?
Yeah. We're concerned. I did get this one time, and I laughed in their face when they said this. We're concerned about your work-life balance. No, you are not.
You are
absolutely not concerned about my work-life balance. That I spend a minimum of 14 hours a day here.
Yeah.
You do not give a shit.
If they were really worried about your work balance, they'd go, hey, Dave, we're worried about your work balance life. So we've decided to give you a raise.
Yeah.
Because you're working too hard.
Right.
Right? You're never going to
happened.
say that.
That's
No.
never happened. Yeah, I call bullshit on your concerned about my work-life balance.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Man.
You are not concerned.
So what's the biggest thing in 2023 in trucking?
So the first thing, the only thing that pops up or pops out, whatever, is the yellow thing. And I kind of feel
you were
like
close to them.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
I feel like we were drugged through more on the roadway side than yellow side, but I feel like that we were drugged through. Not when I say we, I mean all sides of it. You know, whether you're the shipper or you're the employee or you're the whatever, we got drugged through the mud, and it's all for naught.
Would you say that you were 20,000 feet in the air and you feel like you were thrown overboard and you thought you had a parachute
And it didn't open.
it didn't open, and then you're back up just barely open right before you landed because you finally got the news you needed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. That's really fair. But then also too, you know, in all fairness, I've grown better relationships with other carriers now.
Yeah.
Kind of one main one out of necessity. Well, more than necessity. I mean, our main carrier now was pretty much our main carrier seeing this for coming or whatever.
Yeah.
But then now we've also grown with a couple other carriers which bothers the crap out of me that I'm the one that had to initiate the relationship where they didn't come, you know what I'm saying, where they didn't come
really
looking for that relationship,
you.
where I'm the one that kind of went looking for it, which bothers me. It shouldn't be that way. But I mean, that's customer service and that's a different topic. So it's, you know, I think the yellow thing, but it all just, to me, it's in a way though, 2023 was no different than any other year, you know, as far as other than the yellow thing. It's just another year in freight, and there's always going to be freight. There will always be freight, and this industry is always going to be around.
Right.
It's never not going to be, because that's the only way you get your shoes or your bag or this cup or this microphone or whatever. All of it comes via freight.
Right.
So somebody has to transport it from A to B.
Yeah.
So we haven't learned how to, you know, telepathically move this or that, or
can't 3D print everything.
There we go. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it just, what about you, producer Tony? I mean, you're on a different side of the industry than I am. And you probably have a broader look of numbers maybe than I do. I mean, is there something in your head that sticks out, or?
I was surprised at the growth that the carriers reported.
Are you, or do you?
I think there was growth even despite yellow.
Okay.
I think everybody, they got a bump off that, but even there was more growth, and it's just amazing because, and the reason I say that, David, is
in a good way though.
Yeah, in a good way. Is at the peak of the yellow demise,
bankruptcy. Some carriers that struggled.
Yeah.
Initially, but again.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No. It impacted everyone, I think. That we saw the shipment numbers increase. But what was shocking is the fourth quarter usually gets a little soft as closer you get to Christmas for trucking. We were still doing 60,000 plus shipments a day.
At the end of December.
Yes.
Wow.
So that tells me that not only was there a yellow bump, but there was a growth factor attributed to that as well.
There was also, I don't know how relevant you think that this is, but there was also a LTL carrier that had a major cyber attack.
Yeah,
made it
through. That was us.
That made it through.
Yeah.
And to me, that's going to end in 5 years. That might be a story where you're like, that happened.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Pretty
to say?
astonishing.
Or
yeah.
You know? But that made it through well. I mean,
yeah, it was pretty scary. But I personally feel, and obviously I'm a sales guy, and they're probably going to sound like a sales pitch, but I thought our company handled it really efficiently and effectively. And I was surprised at how well. I think the biggest thing, though, that helped in my eyes, like for my territories, people like you still shipped with me when it was down. And we had that. We had I lost over half my business. And so you get nerve wracking, right? Like
but you gained it back, or you lost
got it back.
How many customers did you permanently lose?
I was down a little bit of revenue, but I lost over half, and then it came back pretty quickly after we got back online. But when you're a sales rep, you get kind of worried because it opened up other doors for other people, and you know, you know what I mean? And it was like, you did your job.
I got you.
You know, so, but man, you got affected by this. And, you know, one thing I can say about the company I work for is that is probably, I've worked for a few carriers. They don't seem to panic, and they seem to steadily make right decisions. And, I just think it's worked for them. It's really worked for them the way they do and strategize things. Some of the things you're like, man, why are we doing that?
Could this
in a couple of years?
Could that ever happen again?
I was told by the powers to be in our company that after this, we're the most secure LTL carrier company that there is in the industry.
But I'm sure they felt that going in, though, right? Or no?
I think there were some concerns. They were working on some things.
Okay.
To tighten some things down.
Okay.
They were concerned about it. But I think they're happy where they're at right now. I think it could absolutely happen. There was, I think it could happen again. It's just, you know, just as you go downtown in the 20s and 30s and you discover there's pickpocket people and they're slick at bumping into you and stealing your wallet, right? This is probably the worst analogy in history, but as time has gone by, people are picking bank accounts off the internet, right? They're not so much pickpocketing you off the street anymore. So because of cameras and all that, it's just evolved. The crime's just evolved. When I looked up this cyber thing, it was astonishing. 96% of all cyber attacks, they get away with it.
Really?
They don't get caught.
All right. So are you saying then that the people that did this cyber attack this year got away with it and will not get caught? Is that what you're saying?
I think the ones that involved with us, they did something. I don't know the whole story. I'd be speaking out of context here, but my understanding is that
should be the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Speaking out of context. Anyway,
ship out of context,
yes,
shipping out of context.
There you go.
But I think, I don't think it's going to stop because of companies are just every company's going to have a cybersecurity person, you know, more in depth, or at least reach out to a company. They're going to have almost like having a lawyer on retainer. It's almost like every company's going to have to lock down their cyber, and they're going to have to test it throughout the year, probably. I mean, I think it's really a weapon of war. I mean, it can paralyze a company. I mean, we were doing stuff on paper. Like, we were doing stuff that when I first came into this industry was normal.
Old timey.
And you know what? A lot of people don't know cursive. This younger generation doesn't write in cursive, David B. They just don't. So, I mean, it's just a different type of world we live in.
But why? So I don't want to get on the topic of writing in cursive. I can't read it if somebody writes in cursive. Because why I mean by that is you're not taking time to do it right. Yeah. You're taking time to just make it sloppy.
Right.
If somebody writes, I can't read it. I'm like, what the F does this say?
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I'm being honest.
Is this a pickup or dock drop off? What is this?
What the F does this
say? Could you write it and print it out? But hey, you know what, man? I was surprised at our drivers, our people. I mean, it was pretty amazing. Because, you know, I've been in a war. I know what, like it's hit the fan, dude. Right. So, I felt that we were in survival mode. Right. And in a weird kind of way, I kind of like that a little bit. And then, and see it get fixed.
It was frustrating.
Oh my God, man. I broke out in some hives on my hand. I was so freaked out about it.
Like on my end of it, when you're used to having
Yeah.
the tracking info at your fingertips, and it's not there.
Well, hey,
what the F is going on?
You called me. Well, here's the worst day a rep could ever have. You called me and said, "Hey, I need to know where the shipment is." I can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
I literally got a call,
mm-hmm.
and their phones aren't working because they're tied into the computer.
Right.
So I got to get. Our company had some good communications going. It was amazing, actually. Back channel stuff.
It was personal, but it was more on the personal end, though, right?
Yeah.
Where you had to communicate through your
I tell you what, our terminal manager, he and I talked early in the morning when it happened. I was just getting back from the funeral,
mm-hmm.
and it was. I said, "Hey, here's what we need to do. Let's set up a Gmail account." And I'm going to send that to all my customers so they can communicate with us. He goes, "Dude, I'm going to do it right now." So he set one up for the terminal and himself, and I got one.
Mm-hmm.
So the dispatcher got one. So right away we were all communicating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of places did that a little later on. That should have probably been something instantaneous. But I mean, if someone were to have it to happen, there would be a model to look at Estes to say, "Here's what I need to do."
Okay.
I believe that to be true.
That's fair.
And so I was pretty proud of the way we were resilient, and it ended up because sometimes I look back and I'm like, man, I can't believe that happened just like a couple months ago, right? Because it's like,
that's why I mentioned earlier. In
here's
3 or 4 years, we might be hard pressed to remember it.
Yeah. Here's what's funny though. Like, so you start getting depressed and dejected because you don't have access to everything yet. Right. So the day that I got access back, it was like I was a new person. Mm-hmm. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. I was just like, "Oh, wow, this is incredible. Great. Yeah." It was like a rejuvenation.
Mm-hmm.
It was bizarre. And you felt like you were back in charge again. You know what I mean? And it was just, I look back on that and I'm like, man, that day that I found out I got access, I was like,
is it 100% fixed?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it seems like maybe as much as a month ago, you guys were having embargoes still on lanes, like rating lanes. And I didn't know if that was an internal issue due to still there being an issue with the cyber attack, or if that was something that it was a fluke thing or something.
I think you're talking about Columbus, Ohio. There was so much growth at that terminal, they got behind.
Oh.
So they literally had to turn off quoting for a few days so they could get all the deliveries out.
Okay.
So shockingly, that's one, but there's some bottleneck congested areas, and these terminals that are available through Yellow's bankruptcy will help this industry and help us because in those areas we've purchased those terminals, and it's going to help. I didn't realize this. There's not enough dock space in this country to handle our other carriers' freight.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think this helps that because the land and property aren't going directly to the banks. It's going directly to the shipping community, which needs it.
And it's already set up.
Yeah. It's already set up. We may have to pour a little concrete here, fix some chips at the door, right? Maybe have to put some rubber padding in at the door. Might have to level the back, where the trailer tires have dented into the concrete or asphalt.
Sure.
Might have to fix a little bit of that, but might have to chase some mice out of the building. But other than that,
get some cats.
Yeah, get some cats. There you go. Wow. Other than that, it's
normal year.
Yeah,
pretty much. Right.
Moving on. Yeah. I'm glad to be where I'm at because
you and I, every now and again, Tony and I are fortunate enough to have a lunch together once every other week or so. And I've told Tony, and I mean this, you are in an excellent spot. To me, this could or should take you to retirement.
Boom, baby, he's retiring down the road. Yep, I think so.
Is that ever a thought in your head?
No, I can't really think about it yet. I mean, no. I think when you're in your 50s, you really can't. Till you're into your late 50s, probably you start thinking about it. But
I turned 55 this year, and it's difficult. There's no age that's bothered me for whatever reason.
In 55?
It's kind of, for whatever reason, it's difficult to, I don't know why. I'm like 55.
60s concern me. It's like 60. Jeez, guy. Dang, you're old. Getting up there. You're only 10 years away from 70.
We're young, though.
Yeah.
I mean, in relative terms.
Yeah.
I think it's
so.
young.
Yeah, I do too.
But that's just a state of mind, though, too, right? For the
I think
most
so.
part.
I mean, yeah. I think so. As long as
You're only as old as you
act and
right.
do, yeah.
But there are plenty of immature, very, very immature people that are our age or older.
Older, yeah.
Very
absolutely
immature.
You can see them all day.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it.
No.
It's like, what did you not learn in 50 years?
I don't understand it.
You had a good 40 years of learning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A good 30, 40 years of learning.
Mm-hmm.
The hell did you learn?
You still didn't. Yeah. You didn't. Somebody bought you books and you didn't pay attention or whatever. Probably maybe the best way to say it.
The pages missing out of that book.
Probably quite a few. I do off air bring that up again. There's when you say pages missing from a book, it reminded me of something that bring that up off air. So no, I'll just talk about it now. I don't give a shit. So that there's a book that you showed me toward the end of the year that you were reading, and so it piqued my interest. So I went looking to research this book, and there were a lot of 5-star reviews on this book, and the stories that it told, and the contents of the book. But there was a lot of 1-star reviews, and all of the 1-star reviews were 1-star reviews because there were pages left out of that book.
Yeah.
And you know exactly what book I'm talking about. It's the only book you've ever showed me. You just showed me it, probably last month. And that baffled me on why pages were left out of that book. That makes no sense. No sense at all.
I think it was, I think they were taken out by.
That's, yeah. That
they weren't approved to be, the government took them out. That book was banned.
1991
was banned.
It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Makes zero sense.
Yeah,
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
that piqued my interest, probably more so than you and I having that discussion about the book.
Yeah,
I'm like, it just baffled me.
And then the way the guy died
out of the book.
Then he died. The way he died, he predicted it, right? Like he predicted his death and how he would die.
I went looking for interviews with him.
Some weird ones out there, but they're hard to find. Some of them.
Yeah, it was not easy to find.
Yeah.
I don't know if weird's the right word. I mean, just I had. Yeah, it was his knowledge, quote unquote, knowledge of. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. But the thing that I took out of it the most, that pages were missing. What?
I think those were the pages that were telling us what my theory is, and it's what some of the people think. They were because he talks about a plan.
Were there pages missing from your book? Or do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I think there are, yeah. So in my book, actually, it was weird. They said they delivered it, and they never did. And then I got on and said, you didn't deliver it. And then they came back and said, yeah, we did. Here's a picture. There was a picture of my porch, and there was no book there. And I'm like, what the hell? So then like 3 hours later, I go check, and the book's there. So I think the guy thought he delivered. There was nothing there. I'm like, what are you taking a picture of nothing? And then I sent it to him. Oh, and then he came back. It was weird, dude. It was weird. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird thing. It's a crazy book. You don't want to believe it. Like everything in it. Like you're like, man, some of this stuff is OUT there. But interesting stuff, though. I'm glad you thought about that.
Oh, I'm always interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, when I hear something different, I'm willing to give it. I'm willing to give it whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't judge the book because I don't think I'm going to read it, but it piqued my interest enough to be like, oh, I wonder what this is really.
And the
all
book tells you
about.
exactly what's going to happen to Osama bin Laden. They're going to blame it on him, right? They're going to blame it on him, and it's going to start a whole new thing, and they're going to take your freedoms away with a new bill to spy on people, which is what 9/11 Terror Act was.
Yeah, you going to an airport's not the same.
No, they got what they wanted over just a few incidents, and what's sad is the treat. To take that what you just said there, the airport, right? So terrorists flew in, flew out, right, and then you're going to subject Americans to that.
So no, probably, and I don't want to get off on this tangent, but probably the thing that pops into my head first with that is up until that time that it was strictly innocent until proven guilty, and now you're guilty until you're proven innocent.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, and that's what Napoleon fought the French Revolution over, right? He got rid of the kingdom, and then his whole thing was, no, you're innocent. Because they tried to say they tried to throw Napoleon in jail, saying he's guilty. You're guilty. You're guilty. He's like, no, I didn't do anything wrong. You're making this stuff up. Well, prove your innocence.
Right.
Well, it's harder to prove your innocence than it is for them to prove your guilt. So, it just seems like that's where we're in a weird time, man. Dun, 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 dun.
To me, it's always been dun, 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 dun. I mean, has it ever not been?
I think the tent was going up, and now the music's playing. I think the tent was always up, and there was a show inside, but we didn't have any music. Today, the music's playing. Wow. Today, it's like throughout the whole atmosphere. You're hearing dun 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 dun. Dun. I don't know. Probably a stupid analogy, but
well, it might be fair. I don't know. I mean,
come on inside.
To me, it's always been. I think we've taken a step backwards. If anything.
Yeah, we have.
Just my opinion.
Hey, yeah, I mean, just.
But we're not here to do that podcast.
No,
we'd be here all day.
So you wanted David B to bring up,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, bring it up, man.
Customer service. Customer service is something that always is just ate at me. In our industry, it used to be phenomenal.
Yes,
and I'm not here to bash our industry and customer service because it's too easy. I mean, it used to be great, absolutely phenomenal customer service in this industry. And when we got away from the personal aspect of
humans
customer service, then it's just turned complete poop. And calling it poop is probably being nice.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I had an experience a couple weeks ago, and I know Tony and I are fortunate enough to spend a little time together and grab lunch every now and again. And we both had some customer service stories that we shared from over the holidays. I had one a couple weeks ago, and then I had one last night that was just awful. And so
that's a surprising one. Last night would be.
So a couple weeks ago, I had an Uber experience where I'll just use the word extortion.
It's a big word.
But when I was at the Great Divide, and I absolutely, you know me, Tony, I love going to the Great Divide.
Yeah.
It's my place. I love that place. It's just awesome. And they're not in any way, or they're not any part of this story. So I'm getting an Uber going home, and I live in Lebanon, which is about a 25-30 minute drive.
You're doing a responsible thing, right?
Yep. So I'm standing outside, my Uber pulls up, and without missing a beat, he rolls his windows down and he goes, "You got two options. I'm going to cancel the ride, or you're going to pay me with cash because they're not paying me enough to go to Lebanon." And so I immediately, while there was a significant amount of alcohol involved, went on the defensive. I go, your options are to move on or cop out of that car. I'm going to beat your ass for trying to extort money out of me, mother effer. And
was this 2024 or was this?
This was right before Christmas.
Okay,
the Saturday before, the Friday before Christmas. So it would have been the whatever day that was. I don't remember, the 22nd or something like that, or whatever that Friday was.
Because usually you're very generous and courteous about your instance with, or your
I've
Uber.
Yeah, hundreds of Uber rides, and all of them that probably about 5 have went extremely well. Like my Ubers last night were phenomenal. But anyway, I less than 1% have ever went awry, and this is one of those 1%. And so that Uber driver got chirpy with me, and I chirped right back, and he drove around the block and even came right back around
the block.
I go, dude, your options, you just better freaking go. I mean, and not that I would have stood a chance in any sort of physical altercation, because I probably would have got my ass handed to me. But the point with this is that
you need to log a complaint.
I need to log a complaint. And Uber, however many $1 billion of a year industry that Uber is, their customer service is complete poop. And that Uber ride somehow vanished from my history.
Whoa!
Which just drove me nuts. And it still drives me nuts today. I have nothing to fall back on to make a complaint to Uber.
Uber's a $119 billion company, by the way.
Thanks for letting me know that. That only pisses me off more, Tony. So yeah, how are you a $119 billion a year company and you don't have customer service? Or your customer service, as Tony likes to put it, which is 100% factual, is AI. And that's bullshit customer service. That is just complete crap. And so I have nothing
to our computer, Dave.
Right. I have nothing to go back on to formulate my complaint. And my complaint is not to receive a monetary benefit.
You can't even tell them, right? You're clicking on it.
My point is fix your effing problem. Don't let something like that ever happen again. And I told and I never get into, so I never scream normally or get all bent out of shape, but I'm like, you agreed to the effing ride, and I told Tony this Thursday that I should have just gotten the ride and make him take me home and then told him to F off, but that would have just caused more.
So you complain and I
did not. I can't.
But to explain it, so you're open up the Uber app and you're going to log a complaint and you're clicking on stuff and nothing's really
to go.
There's nowhere to go.
No.
So then your ride disappears off the screen.
Yeah. It's gone. It's gone. There was nothing. Right then I went looking and I'm like, son of a bitch. So I waited till the next morning. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me. I'll wait till the next morning and look to file my complaint. And it was gone, absolutely not there. And they got away with it. They absolutely just get away with it. You're like, there's no, and again, I'm not looking for restitution.
Right.
I'm looking for you to fix your effing problem.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to fall back on. And it just completely baffles me. And then so last night at the 5-star of all 5-star restaurants in Indianapolis, which some people consider our total for
the staple of the city.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So our total for 7 of us was $903.
Boom!
The customer service for that evening was complete poop.
Really?
Complete poop from the get-go. So when we go
you think they were understaffed, or you just think they were like, was it busy? Was it?
No. It was bad from the get-go. So when we go to this place, we ask for a specific waiter, period. It has to be this person. And so when we got seated, it was not that person.
But they told you when you were seating it would be? Or you were led to believe it might be?
We were not told any different. We were not told that it would not be. And so normally, I'll take a little bit of blame on this. That normally I always, when we go to check in, say, "Are you sure it's Andre? It has to be Andre." And they're like, "Yeah, it's Andre." But Friday night, I'm like, "Here's our party," and just assumed, and I should not have assumed. So when we got sat, and this isn't anything about our waiter, actually did a great job. He did a very good job. We tipped 30%. Let me rephrase that. He did a good job. He did his job, I guess probably is the best way to say it. He did his job.
But you wanted Andre.
So there was a little bit, and I tried to, and I don't know why I'm the only one that said anything, but I'm like, "You're not Andre." Because because Andre's part of it. I'm like,
but did you see Andre?
No. So
nowhere around.
No, he was. So here, when I said to the waiter, I said, "You're not Andre," and he goes, "Andre's not here." And I go, "What do you mean Andre's not here? Andre's no longer here, or Andre's not here this evening?" He goes, "Well, Andre's not here this evening." I go,
We'll call him.
I go, "Okay." I said, "We specifically asked for Andre, but
Yeah.
whatever." And so we were rushed through our meal. So he's like, I'm like, "Bring us 4 shrimp cocktails." There were 7 of us at the table. "Bring us 4 shrimp cocktails." And then he goes, "So what are we ordering?" And I'm like, "We're not in a rush." And I ordered, by the way, have you ever had a Negroni as far as your cocktail? I highly recommend a Negroni. It's a fabulous cocktail. It is gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth.
How do you spell it, do you think?
Negroni, Nergoni.
There it is. Really?
Oh, it's a fabulous cocktail with a little orange slice in it. Dude, it's phenomenal.
That's what it's got here.
I had 4
It looks interesting.
I had 4 of them last night.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're good.
They're delicious.
Good. Very good.
So it's Negroni is a cocktail made of equal parts of
Negroni.
gin, vermouth, Rosso, Campari, generally served on the rocks, commonly garnished with an orange slice.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered an aperitif. The hell does that mean?
Yep. I don't know. It's
It's an Italian drink.
It did its job. It's very good. Very, very good. That's an Italian name, Negroni.
Yeah.
It sounds Italian, I guess. Kind of like spaghetti. Not to be dumb.
Very popular in the 30s and 40s.
Okay. I could see that. I don't know why it's not popular now. It's a really good drink. So anyway, going back to the story, there was a bit, you could tell there was a smidge of contention between us and the staff, the waiter. I didn't get my way, and I don't like it when I don't get
Well,
what I
you're
asked
paying
for.
a lot of $900, dude.
That's the point of the. That's the point of saying that we
$1,000.
and we tipped the guy 30%.
That's $1,000 bucks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we get rushed,
big
kind of what I felt to be rushed through. I haven't seen most of these guys in. Some of the guys I haven't seen, in 6 or 7 months, and so we're playing catch up, having conversation, blah blah blah, going on, and so when there came a point where one of the gentlemen was just a smidge late to the table, and so we had called ahead of time. Our reservations were initially for 6, and we had called ahead saying that we need to increase that to 7. When we got sat, the table was set for 6, and I'm like, I give a look, and Mac knew what I was giving the look about. I go, "This isn't right," and he's like, "Well, we'll get it taken care of." And then so when the other gentleman was on the way, I had to stop one of the help one of the staff, other than a waiter, to set a table for the 7th person. But there came a time where one of the other wait staff, when the other gentleman had arrived, was looking to order the drink and intervened in the ordering process and kind of tried to hurry it along. And I'm like, "Oh my God," that just made it absolute worst. And I'm like, "Oh, dude, you can't say anything because you don't want to cause a disturbance, because that's what's going to happen, because, dude, move on. You stay in your lane and we'll be in ours." I just don't understand how you can consciously get away with that and think that it's okay. And the waiter would use, he used a line with our table, like, "You probably better order now because I got a big group right behind you." And we're like looking around like, where, and then he used that same line on the table right behind us. I'm like, this is just effing bullshit. So I don't know that I'll go back. I don't know that I want to go back, even though if Andre, it's not worth it. It's absolutely not worth it. That's just a bad customer service experience to make me not want to go back. And like you mentioned earlier, I mean, you spent over $1,000 to be there. The original total was $903. Now when you tip 30%, you're up over $1,000.
Yeah,
just bullshit. I just don't get it, Tony. My point with this, and we've talked about this on the podcast a couple different times. I don't understand how you can have crap customer service like that. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
That should be the number one focus of any business.
Which should be your bread and butter, right? To take care of stuff and to fix things. And I mean, you want me to tell you mine?
It can,
Yeah, but go ahead.
If I may, one more thing. It's just something that popped into my head. We went to, as a comparison, that same group minus maybe minus one or two people hit up at the ugly sweater party for the Great Divide and had comparable or better than, I guess I should say, service and meals for $325.
Right.
It's just saying.
Right. I know.
Anyway, when you spend any amount of money, $903. So anyway, that's just my angst this morning, I guess, or whatever. But it's customer service is always an issue, and I think that you and I had spoken Thursday about an issue that you had that actually brought this whole thing up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's paramount for a company to have good customer service. I mean, if you look at the way, like, so, just what we do to do this show, I had to figure out how to do this, like, stuff all on my own because there is no one to talk to, right? So you type in what you want. Oh, this is my concern. And then it takes you to 25 pages to sort through to figure out which is your problem. So it's late. One day I'm out, beginning of the year, making sales calls, coming back to the home office. And it's like, it's kind of late in the day. I'm like, I look over at this certain area where I'm at, and there's like 10 restaurants. They're all packed, right? So I'm like, I just want a burger. That's all I want. So I'm like, I'm just going to go get a burger at Wendy's. So I go to Wendy's. Wendy's makes a good little single burger.
That is a tasty burger.
Yeah, it's a tasty burger. That's what I want. So I go to Wendy's drive-thru. Man, it's like $3.15, $3.30, something like that.
Okay.
And they're like, hey, we're doing a shift change. We're going to be shut down for 10 minutes. And I'm like, shift change? With all the technology we got today, you're telling me you got to shut down for 10 minutes? I remember working at a sports bar and grill in college, and a shift change was pretty simple.
Yeah, somebody took the spot, and you went home.
And you went home, and you counted your drawer out, and you're like, "This is what my drawer was," and you handed it in, and then they started their drawer, and you left $100 in the drawer. So then I'm like, "This is bullshit." So then Chick-fil-A, packed all the way out to yin yang. They got some kind of drug-induced chicken sandwich going on. The line's so damn long, I can't even get one. Never even tried one. It's the line's too long. So then I'm like, it's 3:30 and the line's out the yin yang. I'm like, so then I look at McDonald's. I'm like, no. And then there was a couple others. I look across the street at McAllister's. I'm like, no, that's packed. Cadoba's packed. I'm like, oh, wait, what? I'll just go to Burger King and get a Whopper Jr.
Okay.
So I go to Burger King, Whopper Jr. with no cheese.
Nice.
And real nice. The lady's real nice and stuff. And I get through the drive-thru and I pay, and she's real nice. And, I look through the window and I look at the floor of this place, and dude, it's got like burger buns on the floor. There's paper all over the floor.
Ooh.
I get a glimpse of some of the workers in there, and God bless them, man. They're working, but they look like they just got out of prison. I mean, there's people with tattoos on their face and stuff. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I'm like, hey, shut up, you idiot. Why are you thinking like that? Just get your burger and leave. These people are working hard. So I'm like, okay. So I get it and I pull out and I'm like, man, gosh dang. Man, that burger, I'm going to eat it right now. So I pull out and I open it up. Dude, there's no meat in the burger.
So you took a bite into it?
No. Well, I'm trying to remember how I discovered it. I think I did take a bite. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like,
and there's
there's missing here.
I took a picture of it. I got a picture of it. So I'm like,
taste the pickles, but
I'm like, something's weird about this. It didn't feel like a Whopper. So there's no meat on it. So I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, man, just go back to the store. I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to complain at that store. I don't know if I want to go in. I don't know what my burger would look like after that.
Right. Where was your burger on the floor?
Who knows, dude? And so then I'm like, well, I got a Coke here. I'm like, man, I'm not drinking that. I'm throwing this whole thing out. So I threw the whole thing out. So I get kind of mad about it. I'm like, I don't complain a lot. So I'm like, it's just unacceptable. Mm-hmm. So then I try to call Burger King, right? You can't call Burger King, David, in 2023, 2024. You can't call them. So I got to download a freaking digital app.
So there's no 1-800 Burger King.
No. It's a yeah, there is, but it's just a voice through, and it says please download the Burger King app.
Okay.
To talk with Burger King.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk. So I'm on there with Burger King, and I get my app and I download the app, and it's probably similar to what you're doing with Uber. So then it says, order was not right. Yeah, the order was not right. But also, I want to tell you about your floor and just how disgusting it was.
There's more to it than the order.
Yeah. So there's nowhere to do this. So then I finally kept hitting other. After about 20 others, I'm in some chat thing. And then I explained it. And by this time, I'm like, this is so stupid. It's not even worth it. It was $9. I just lost $9. Move on.
Right.
So I go ahead and I don't even think I sent it. And then I get a response back saying, hey, you need to go download our new digital app. We're gonna refund you $3.
Mm-hmm.
I paid $9. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, wow, this is bizarre. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. So I'm like, I don't really want your money. I just want to tell you that this place needs help. I mean, like this little lady there, if she's your frontline worker, taking orders and handing the orders out, she's not getting the support behind the scenes, man. There's something going on.
Right. So they want to remedy your situation for $3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thinking maybe that does most people. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, I really wanted you to tell me that you're going to send in a Burger King rescue team to try to help these people because that place is in a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and no wonder there's no line there and everyone else has got a line.
Right.
Them and Wendy's. Yeah, it was bizarre. Anyway.
Wendy's has stepped up their fry game. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, they always have a decent burger too, The Steak and Shake was packed. All of them were packed.
So I forgot about a customer service experience I had in Zionsville, like right between the holidays, that at this place that I like, we go there maybe once a quarter or so. And as soon as we sat down, the waiter came. Again, this was a scenario where we had asked for a specific waiter, and the maitre d' didn't mention that waiter wasn't working, and we got sat, and the guy was not Blake. And I'm like, and it's not a very big place. And so I'm like, well, obviously Blake isn't working, but that guy acted like he didn't want to wait on us at all.
Yeah.
And so the next morning,
that sucks.
So the next morning I send them, I try to find the best available email for the business that I could find. And I'd sent them an email, voicing my displeasure. Again, I'm not looking for restitution. I'm looking for you to fix your effing problem, or what I perceive to be a problem. So a couple hours go by. It's about 11 a.m. on that Saturday morning between the holidays, and there hadn't been a response yet. I know that they're open. And so I had made my reservations through Open Table, which is an app.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an app I have on my phone.
Yeah.
And so Open Table sends me something asking about how was your experience. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to roast you. I'm going to just factually give the experience. And let me go back a little bit. In my initial email to the restaurant, I even though I didn't pay the bill, I took a picture of the bill to prove that we were patrons that evening.
Yeah.
To prove that this was us. That was my the only reason I took the picture of the bill is to prove that we were there to pay. So anyway, Open Table sends something. And so I give my food was great. Service was terrible. It's basically what I had said in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Food was great. Service was terrible. Each time we wanted a cocktail or a new drink, we had to wave somebody down to hey, we need refills or do new drinks each time, not some of the time, each time. And when they thought they were done waiting on us, the other person that I was with for dinner wanted a dessert to go, and I wanted to look at the cocktail menu because I had just had beers up until then. Just kind of haphazardly brings it all by. Anyway, it was just a bad experience. So anyway, I go to Open Table, and I kind of voice my blah, blah, blah. And then the owner responds through Open Table. And I'm like, well, why is it you can't respond to my email? So my response back to them on Open Table was, I sent you an email with a more specific explanation on exactly what went wrong. And then so a couple hours go by, and then he responds again only through Open Table, which just effing baffles me. How come you can't respond to directly to my email saying, we're going to work on your issue, but it takes something to the effect of like, but it takes all of us to make sure that it's going to go right. And I'm like, it's the simplest effing thing.
He's dragging you into
your waiter. Yeah. It's the waiter that's the problem. Yeah. We're tipping minimum 20% or whatever, and that was a two of us. That was what was that bill? 155, 160, somewhere in there. Whatever. At least fake it,
right?
But give some sort of, hey, my name is so and so. Glad you're here. Even if you're not, all right. But it was, I don't know. It's just, that's the world we live in, and nobody cares anymore.
I know.
I don't think anybody gives two poops. That's just like, meh, so what?
I think that's what it, I don't know what's happened. It's bizarre. It's happened everywhere, I think, has seen a decline in
all of the industry.
Yeah, it's seen it. It's just, hopefully it gets addressed in other ways, but I think
shouldn't that be the number one business thing is customer service?
Well, you would think.
Think it out loud.
You would think. Here's your menu of options where's your complaint? That's what it is today. Talk to the computer. Mm-hmm. Dave, here, click here. Was this the problem? No. Here, click here. Was this the problem? Nope. Click here, other. And then they'll finally let you like type it in. It's just bizarre. And it's non-human. And it's like, it's a detachment is what it is.
Mm-hmm. But even the human aspect of it's bad too.
I think so too.
It's
people wearing so many hats, I think too, part of the problem.
And dealing with, I will say, and to be somewhat fair, or to be kind of fair, but dealing with humans sucks. I mean, it's gotta wear on you. Yeah. I mean that genuinely.
Complaining all the time.
I mean that genuinely. That it's dealing with people on a daily basis has to wear on you, because people, in most terms, or at least in my opinion, suck. As far as, because there's always people complaining, always. Whatever, so
I'm sure people, but if that's your job in your business, you got to respond to it.
Yeah, fair. That is, you're in the industry, so you don't have to. Yeah, You're right.
Dave, we're on the elevator. We're heading to 1980.
Can we get off on the floor of 1983, please? Take me to 1983. What, Tony? All right, I have a pet peeve.
Yeah,
help me. And what year? How do you say what year it is today? This is year blah.
2024.
Thank you. The people that say this is 2024 drive me nuts.
2020
absolutely drives me crazy.
It's the year 19.
I call people out. I found myself calling people out on that. I go, what year? I go, it's 20. I said, were you? I said, I wasn't born in the year 1969.
AD.
Right. Yeah. So,
after death.
Anyway, are we on floor at 1983, producer Tony?
We have.
My favorite part. My favorite part is the Reckless crew.
There we go. Bring it up.
Is I like the
1983 brought to you by the Reckless Club.
I like the. It just makes you feel even older when we're researching the music portion of the podcast. Absolutely another great year in music, 1983. The Billboard Top 100, the number one song of 1983. Producer Tony, do you have an idea, or do you factually know what that song was?
No, when I go back to 1983,
all the way back to 1983, 40 years ago. 41 years ago.
I'm thinking rock, Van Halen, something like that. Maybe no.
Great, yeah.
Or am I too late? Diver Down.
I don't know
was
about that,
83?
but the number one song in 1983 would be by The Police, "Every Breath You Take,"
Every breath,
which
you
is
take.
absolutely great song.
Wow.
Number 2, Billie Jean.
Billie Jeans. Oh man,
Michael
I should have known
Jackson.
that. Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what
Was
an
that
album.
Thriller?
It was.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Billie Jeans. Not my
And that
girl.
album still to this day, well, even
Think so,
there's
yeah.
probably a lot of other albums to this day, but I'm sure Thriller just sells just like wildfire or whatever.
Apparently
It's
was
just
at Epstein Island, FYI.
okay. All right. I mean, going through the list of the Billboard Top 100, and I listened to this song. Normally, I'm not a music guy. Listening in the car, I'm a very boring NPR person. But I did hear this song on the way in from 1983, the Eurythmics, "Sweet Dreams."
Sweet dreams.
Actually, number 10 on the top 100 of 1983.
Annie Lennox.
Yeah, Annie Lennox. And
Incredible.
Dave,
Yeah. He was a record producer too. Dave. Oh gosh, I'll look it up.
Anyway,
Dave.
that's why we have
Dave.
the producer Tony, and
Dave.
one of my, or at least, and I think I've mentioned this in our past music portions.
Dave
of the-
Stewart.
Okay, there we go. Yep. Past music portions of the podcast, and I'm not afraid to admit this at all. Culture Club, I was a huge fan and still am. At number 11 spot is "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?"
Do you really want
Boy-
to hurt
Boy
me?
George and Culture
Oh
Club.
man.
So one of my least favorite bands of all time, still to this day. At number 14, "Shame on the Moon," the title of the song by the Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. I cannot.
I don't remember
I
that
just
song.
Never was a Bob Seger.
She was a little
Never.
too tall.
You did you go see Seeger in concert recently? Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought you did.
Mm-mm.
But to each their own on music. It's not Jeopardy. Remember the song Jeopardy, the Greg Kihn band? I lost in
Our love's in
Jeopardy,
jeopardy.
baby.
Wow.
Mr. Roboto by Styx.
Mr.
Domo
Hey,
Arigato.
that's when they got
Mr.
really weird.
Roboto. That's when Styx got weird.
To me, they got weird. I dove out on Mr. Roboto.
Okay.
That was
That's a
weird.
Chicago band.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big time. I had to listen to him every day.
Yeah. The Human League, Fascination.
Don't you really want me? Is
Tony-
that song?
mm,
She was a cocktail waitress working in a cocktail
cocktail
lounge
bar.
till I met you. Is that it?
mhm, mhm.
No?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Keep Feeling Fascination. Remember? Keep feeling fascination. La, la, la,
Uh-uh.
la. If you heard it.
Who
you would.
sings that?
Gosh darn it, producer Tony. Human League.
The Human League.
Next time we're out and about, we like to try to stump one another with music at the Great Divide. Let's see here. Rock the Casbah by the Clash. I love the Clash. I don't know if you were a Clash fan.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a big one on here, dude.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Go.
man. This is a big rock.
Allentown. I always liked Allentown by Billy Joel.
That's a
I like
great
that
song.
kind of the
In Allentown.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
mm-hmm. It's about working the
Yeah.
steel mills or whatever.
Good
So,
shit.
Princess 1999.
That's a great song.
Hall & Oates, One on One. Yeah, Men at Work. Men at Work was huge then.
Big time.
Overkill. Gloria by Laura Branigan. Again, we discussed the last or couple podcasts. There's a few songs named Gloria, and not necessarily there's the Gloria, Gloria, and then the different David Bowie, China Girl. The Kinks Come Dancing.
Man, dude, you're missing a big one.
Go ahead. I'm just stumbling through. I'm stumbling through the list, producer Tony. Give it to us.
Here we
please.
go. Sister Christian,
Oh.
the time has come.
All right.
And you know that you're the only one to say, okay.
Motoring.
Dude,
Hold on. I'm not looking at a list. So
where you going? What you looking for? You know those boys don't want to play no more with you.
All right,
it's true. You're motoring.
Who's the band?
Night Ranger.
Oh, son of a
Yeah.
Dang it. I would have. Night Ranger. Are they the ones that had Tony Katane?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that was David Coverdale, White Snake.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's hilarious.
Wow. Oh, Spandau Ballet, the song True.
Man, that was a really good year. You're right.
Dude, seriously.
I've got a rock and roll hot with Eric Clapton.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yep. There's a lot of.
The Kinks are still putting out music in 83. Wow. Oh, wait, here's one.
Go ahead.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
That was a female. That was I can see. Dang it! I know some of you are yelling at the. It's this person, dumbass.
Bonnie.
That Bonnie.
Stephen.
Bonnie.
Aerosmith.
Bonnie Tyler. Bonnie. Is that her name?
Bonnie Tyler.
Okay. All right. That's all right.
Flashdance too. It looks like was on there.
Yep. You quite a few songs that you see the Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney started to collaborate then with That Girl Is Mine.
And they hated each other
afterwards. Right?
Yeah, they became bitter enemies.
Was it bitter? I don't remember. I mean, I know.
I
know what it was over.
Yeah,
I don't think you're wrong. I'm just trying to.
He had disdain for him. Maybe is the right word.
But all in all, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think Michael Jackson really did anything wrong. It wasn't.
He took advantage of a situation. That they put themselves into.
Right. And McCartney mentioned it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And Michael Jackson had the time to tell him, well, I'm going to do it. And he didn't do it.
Okay.
He secretively did it. And
okay. Boy, 1983.
Screwed Paul.
I wonder how the generation now, like your kids and mine, would have handled 1983. I mean, without any sort of, the phones were on the wall. You were the TV remote because you had to be the channel changer. There was no such.
I think the greatest invention back then might have been the clapper.
Okay.
But turn the lights on and off with a clap. I think that was it.
Right.
And then
what was that other? What was that? Was always advertised around Christmas, and then what would the Chia Pet?
It would be a Chia Pet, right? Chia Pet, Play-Doh, Slinkies, Monopoly. Yeah. 1983.
But how do you think your kids would adapt to 1980 if there's a transport, like go back in time and you get plopped down and wherever?
You and I would have never been able to make a phone call at home.
No,
they'd have been on a damn phone all the time. We'd had a 5-way call waiting.
With a 10-foot telephone cord, probably.
They probably want their own number. They'd want their own number in their own phone.
Was there such? I mean, could you have back then? I guess maybe. Boy, you don't remember hearing too many.
It was expensive back then.
Oh yeah,
to
make a long distance.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Rip the hell out of you, man.
Now the phones are more expensive than what's a phone cost?
$1,000.
Jesus, Pete.
Yeah.
$1,000 for a phone. Good Lord.
Call waiting. Hey, there's call waiting. Hold on, I got a call.
1983, was there call waiting?
I don't know when it started. Maybe
because that seems like
cable started.
Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like in 1983, if you were trying to call, like if I was trying to call producer Tony and producer Tony was on the phone with his girlfriend, then I would get a busy signal. Is that not?
Yeah, I just don't know when call waiting came. It seems like it may have came in late junior high school.
Okay.
We were in Chicago, so Meritech was based in Chicago, so we got rolled out a lot of the new things first. So,
do you ever miss Chicago? Do you ever? I mean, I know that's where you're from.
Yeah.
Did you ever take advantage of the music scene in Chicago? Did you ever go see music? And what I mean by that is some genuine from the city blues bands.
Oh yeah, there's growing up, there was always like every town seemed to have like a festival, and they'd have bands playing, and you'd have some of the old, like Chubby Checker came to town one time and played "Do the Twist."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Was that sponsored by one of the radio stations? Just
no,
wondered.
it was like the town had paid for him to come.
Oh,
And then there were some older country artists like Conway Twitty, I think, came, stuff like that. But there was always music around, it seems like. And then the Taste of Chicago always had the Taste of Chicago. And then there was tons of different ethnicities and music. And man, it was like you could step in that place and it was like you were in a foreign land. It was amazing.
In the neighborhood that you grew up in, were you close to any sort of ethnic neighborhoods or no?
I grew up, I grew up a town of Elk Grove Village, Latinos.
Is that kind of south and west of?
It's a northwest suburb.
Northwest.
Yeah,
okay.
it's by O'Hare Airport,
Oh, wow.
outside. My dad lived in the city, so I had a dose of that too. And then we lived in the city until I was younger, but older. We moved, I think, when grade school started, but had family and friends that lived there. But yeah, I do sometimes, but I don't think I'd want to live there, dude. I really don't, because
Yeah, I definitely not condone it.
because I had once I got in the military, and the only thing I ever knew was Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and you can get, when you're in a big environment like that, you can think that's the only thing that exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember in history class, young middle school type stuff, you call it here in Illinois, they call it junior high, but I can remember being in history class and, the teacher pulling down a map of the state one time, and he's like, well, before he pulled it down, he goes, what's the southernmost city in Illinois? And no one knew it.
Is it Carbondale?
No, it's Cairo, Indiana, or Cairo, Illinois. It's in the way southeastern tip.
You had the answer or no?
No, I did not. I said Kankakee. Kankakee's just 60 miles outside the city. And so then nobody knew. And he goes, and then he got mad. He goes, your capital is Springfield. That's south. That's further south than Kankakee.
Does Chicago even recognize that it's in the state of Illinois?
No, dude, it's its own thing. And here's the thing, that most people in the state can't stand Chicago. So like, you go to central Illinois, they can't stand Chicago because it sucks all the revenue, tax dollars, all the money gets spent in the state for the city. It's like it's the capital, but it's not. You've had governors move state offices to the city, which was wrong. I think a governor moved them back, and then they moved them back again. So then you have the southern part of the state, which is the poorest part of the state, which actually, if you're going to watch sports down there, you might not see the Bears or Cubs on. You'll see the Cardinals and Louisville and stuff like that, southern teams. So it's a different part of the state. So I that's a good question, because I thought about that recently. I have friends that come down and we go visit them every once in a while, but I really don't miss it.
One of my bucket list things to do, and I've got to do this soon, is to somewhere around Thanksgiving, like maybe the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday leading up to Thanksgiving, I want to get a hotel, I guess, in downtown Chicago. And I want to hit up as many blues bars as I can until
oh my God, yeah.
they're all open until 4 a.m. So, and I don't want to get there until like 10 or 11 at night, and then like just listen to blues like all night. I think that's one of my bucket list things, and I want to do that, even if I have to do it by myself. That's one of the things I want to do, because when I'm by myself, I'm still with other people. I can make conversation with anybody.
Yeah,
and I would absolutely love to go. I think it would be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Some of the big news in 1983, because you and I grew up in that area.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear.
Give me one of the biggest. The Space Shuttle Challenger launched on its maiden voyage, April 18th.
Okay.
1983, the U.S. Embassy in Beirut was bombed. Russia had a nuclear power plant failure in Kursk. Arcade game Mario made its debut. David Bowie makes a comeback singing live on stage. It was a great year, man.
Yeah.
It was a great year, 1983.
It was. I mean,
Dolphins beat the Redskins. No, Dolphins were beaten by the Redskins, 17-27.
in the Super Bowl, was that Mark Rippon? No.
That'd be Joe
Theismann.
I believe it would be
Joe Theismann.
Theismann.
Right, yeah. Or the F, I said Mark Rippon.
Well, that was shortly after. They played good with Rippon, too.
Right.
He was half Indian, I think.
I meant Theismann.
January 31st, 1983, laws passed that all drivers in the front seat must wear a seatbelt when driving in the UK. Why the hell is that U.S. news?
One of the things that you've pointed out a few different times over the years is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it, I don't know if it's just England or the entire United Kingdom, where you are to back into your parking spot.
I think it might be London proper area.
Okay.
You got to back in. You cannot pull in, and you get ticketed for it.
So to your point with that is I was recently, and I don't know how one of these videos popped into my feed. There was somebody like walking down the road in England or London or wherever it was, and they were walking down the road and they were singing. And the first thing that I noticed in that video, the very first thing I noticed, is that every vehicle was backed into its parking spot at the house. And I'm like, that's what producer Tony was talking about.
Yeah, it's weird how they do that.
But it makes sense.
It does, because
kind of.
Lloyd's of London, I think, is one of the biggest insurance accuracy. What the word is? The mathematical science of it all. My understanding is that the study says you'll have less accidents backing in than you will. Backing out than you would pulling forward, because you can see and you're not backwards. So UPS does that. That's why you always see the driver back into your driveway. Doesn't pull straight in usually.
Okay.
Backs in. It's because there's like going to be less accidents. But yeah, it's interesting though. And then the roundabouts came from there. Right?
Roundabout.
I'll be your roundabout.
Who sings? Is that Yes?
That's Yes. The band Yes. And you know what? What year was that? That had to be around
81.
there.
Wasn't that 81? I thought we've talked about that one already.
Roundabout, yes.
Maybe we haven't, but I want to say it was either 1980 or 81. That long ago,
dude.
77,
72.
Oh. Wow.
Well, then why did it have such a big surge in our generation? It was huge.
I don't know.
Let me see if I can figure that out.
I mean, when I think of roundabouts, I think of Carmel. I don't really. I mean, there's a couple in Lebanon, not very many.
Oh, I see. It was huge in Europe. Never heard in America.
Right.
And then it was re-released. It became big off the back of Supertramp.
Re-released when?
Well, not re-released, but it became popular here. It was already released. They pushed it here.
My bad.
No, 1971. It was wow. It's unbelievable.
That's crazy, dude. But didn't it chart here in that? Did it chart? When did it chart here, though? I mean, I want to. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like it charted here in the. Did it not chart here?
Dude, it was number 72 in the U.S.
Okay.
And then it was number 9 in Canada.
Okay. In 1971?
Yeah. It's like it didn't even exist in America. In the 70s in America would have been, oh my God.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, they've performed at every concert they've ever had. It's had a resurgence due to School of Rock. Wow, it's just kind of weird that you would. I would have thought that would have been maybe 81.
Yeah,
maybe. But that was huge. Everybody was playing that.
I liked Yes.
I did too. Loved them.
Band.
Incredible band.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Supertramp too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's older too. I'm gonna look that up. Supertramp.
I'm gonna guess that
70. Yeah.
Jeez, producer Tony.
Breakfast
come on.
Breakfast in America was released in 1979. I would have thought that'd been in the mid 80s.
Yeah.
But
Mind blown.
yeah, but I just think it was so competitive back then. Probably with the hard rock stuff, right? You had Black Sabbath, Zeppelin, the Stones, Who, Beatles still doing, or Paul McCartney and John Lennon doing stuff on their own. That would have been a Michael Jackson in the late 70s, early 80s. Elvis still kicking, right? Was he still? Oh, he died in 78, right?
Yeah, 77 or 78.
Anyway,
last concert ever performed
was in Indianapolis
Market Square Arena.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You told me about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey,
never was a teach their own. Elvis just meh. I didn't dislike him. I just never did anything for me.
Me neither.
Producer Tony, this has been awesome.
Yeah, good way to start 2024, brother.
Thanks for making me feel older. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate everybody listening. Thanks for everybody for listening. We're going to try to do our best to make 2024 the best year we can. If I may, Producer Tony, I registered for the Mid-America Truck Show, which is in March the 20th through like the 22nd. I will be at the Mid-America Truck Show this year.
Nice.
Walking around.
Yeah.
I did think about doing some podcast stuff from there. We'll see. Maybe that'll happen, but maybe not. But I will be at the Mid-America Truck Show in March. So.
Boom, David B. Good stuff, brother. Have a good weekend, man.
You do the same, sir. Thank you.
Ship's Gonna Happen. OUT.